jobs and no mysterious threats to get in our way!
No mysterious threats!
Hello and good evening for this Thursday, September 21st, 2023. The fourth episode of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4 has been released, titled Something Borrowed, Something Green. But we're just getting started here on Live Long in Podcast. I'm Dave Mader, and I got a great crew here once again to break down this episode, talk about it, and share our thoughts. We got my cousin Davan Skelhorn with us tonight. How you doing tonight, Davan?
Well, cousin Dave, I am just a humble crumb upon the biscuit of your show, sir.
Well, I say. Well, welcome. And of course, the world mind himself, Chris Murphy, all the way from Toronto.
Well, I'm just trying to get Orionated over here, get my seat in the proper position. So
yes, well, that's good.
Episode.
Watch out if you're a bonsai tree here, guys. Let's talk about this, guys. This is we're not quite halfway, but we're getting to the halfway point of the season already, if you can believe it. Didn't help that 2 episodes came out week 1, but this was a Orion themed episode, and more specifically a Tendi themed episode with a B plot that focused on Rutherford and Boimler. Brotherford, as they will like to be called. Let's go to you first, Davan. I think I'm getting a bit echo of myself. Who is that? I don't know. Hello? I'm turning on you guys' echo cancellations. There we go. All right. Da-da-da. Interesting. All right. Let's go to you first, Davan.
Well, cousin Dave, I say it warmed my heart like the July sun warms the top water of the Mississippi River.
I'm Samuel Clemens.
Grits.
There were some fun bits in this episode with that.
It reminded me of one time I was in St. Louis. I said, Louis, why are we in Minneapolis?
What's that from? I know that. That's a quote. Is that Foghorn Leghorn? Night Shift. The Night Shift guys. Hey.
No, but seriously, I loved it. I think that one of the great gifts Lower Decks gives us is we get to visit planets that we never get to see otherwise, like Pac-Led Planet, into Orion.
We've never been there in all of Star Trek.
The crazy bird planet.
The crazy bird planet we didn't even know about, but Orion and the Orion people are well known in Star Trek, although we don't know much about their culture really, other than what a little bit we learned in Enterprise. And
they don't like to. Tendi doesn't like to talk about it.
What better way to find out an alien culture than to experience the culture's wedding? I mean,
well, that's true. That's a good way. That's a good introduction into a culture. Is a wedding. Here, let's go through the screenshots, guys, and just remind ourselves what happened beat by beat in this episode, and see if it changes our recollection of it. So we start off kind of like we did in. I guess it was the beginning of episode 2 where we had the Romulans, kind of similar to how we had the Klingons at the end of episode 1. It's pretty much the same beats. We meet the Orion lower deckers, who are boasting about Orion things. Like, look at this big chain I can put on, and you can't tattoo a chain onto your leg.
Yeah, he wants like the big tattoo chain on his leg. It's like, you can't do that. You have to earn that. You got to
earn that, and they're exchanging their, there's always one lower decker that the other lower deckers make fun of and say that they're not up to whatever. You're not Romulan enough, you're not Klingon enough, you're not Orion enough, whatever. So
this guy was super Orion, though. He's like, I even steal like names and images.
Like, why don't you get an original idea instead of stealing one? It's like, I'm a pirate, I steal things.
Exactly.
Like,
more like an Orion plagiarist.
Yeah.
I'm on his side. It's stealing. He's being a really good Orion.
Yeah, he's going for it. They like to steal the Orions and pillage. And I love the whole bit about, and did you see what's her name? She had the metal sticking out of her head and she had it all shaved. It was amazing. I'm thinking about doing that myself. Just some good stuff. Like, I think I wonder if we'll get another version of this, maybe the Ferengi version of this or something else.
I think every episode this season, until we realize that it's Peanut Hamper and Agamus, they're going to kill a different race and their ship.
Right. I'm still trying to figure out what the long game is here.
I
But
don't know why you think it's going to be Peanut Hamper and Agamus. I think that's a
Dave, it's
terrible.
Peanut Hamper and Agamus,
I'll
right?
tell you why I think that.
Yeah, it's totally Peanut Hamper.
Because it was set up in last season that this would be their team up would be the feature. So unless
I mean,
it's
it was set up, but
something-
like I don't see them getting out of that at any point soon. I feel like that's something for a later season. This is a perfectly good opportunity to introduce a new threat and a new species. Why wouldn't they take that chance?
This isn't the years of 7-season guarantees. Like no one thinks they're going to get the next season anymore. Like they don't wait for the payoff. 2 seasons, you know.
yeah, like I'm relatively confident I'm correct, but you know, there's a chance I'm not.
I second your notion.
Yeah, like it just seems to. Where's the clip when I need it?
And it's definitely both of them. It's not just one of them. It's definitely Peanut Hamper and Agamus.
Yeah, I just don't know what their long game here is. Why are they trying to frame Starfleet, or because I think they're trying to take down Starfleet and the Federation and stuff like that.
They're becoming. They might have to move up our villains list with all this crazy murder. We might have to like knock them up a tier here a little bit. But we'll see.
Here we go.
Who the hell are you?
I am Agamus, and I think you and I could do awful things together.
There it is.
Stop it! Stop laughing!
There it is.
I'm not
there it is,
saying
there you
that they're not going to have a collaboration of sorts, but I don't feel like this is it. I feel like this is a false flag and it's something different.
Well,
Think it's
feelings are
Admiral
subjective.
Buenamigo again.
Yeah, so but amigos, so they say, oh, we're just gonna try to steal from this thing. Now we know it's the big bad of the season, whatever it ends up being. But the Orions are going, and then it turns around and decides to fire at them. And much like the Romulans and Klingons before them, their systems are disabled. They have no shields. They're hacked. They can't override it, and they get thoroughly smoked out of existence here.
That's another reason it's Peanut Hamper and Agamus. Like that's like artificial intelligence at work there, you know, hacking their systems, shutting everything down.
Yeah, like it seems like it would be in their wheelhouse to do. And maybe they got a few more of those evil computers that were also in that prison on the team. We'll see. So yeah,
Wouldn't that be something? They have a whole crew of all these evil like things that will be.
Yeah, they got
Landru. Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Landru's like a loser on the ship though. Like they're kind of thinking about getting rid of Landru. They're like, I don't know if we should keep around this Landru.
Okay, here's why I don't want it to be Peanut Hamper and Agamus is because it would be yet another season finale of a Star Trek episode that ends with an automatic computer system trying to kill everything that we've seen in Prodigy, that we've seen in Discovery, that we've seen in like.
But these two have great personality. It's not like just
episodes of
battle.
Lower Decks. I mean, yeah, they have great personalities, but it's the same premise over and over and over again. Give me something fresh. You have a universe to work with.
Norman in the comments is putting out there that, you know, Peanut Hamper is known to be quite chatty. You know, it's not her style to be quiet and deceptive here. And that's true. But I think that they have a big plot here, you know,
same with Agamus, really. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They're like,
he likes to monologue too. So I think it will play out. I think that just in terms of like looking at the seasons, like how Peanut Hamper's introduced at the end of season 1, and then in season 2 or near the end of season 2, she has almost the perfect redemption or whatever. And then Agamus, I just think that's where it's going, and I'm not upset with that by any means. If that's what it ends up being, but mysterious threats. Well, this is the mysterious threat that is yet to be undefined. And I'm not saying I necessarily want it to be Agamus and Peanut Hamper. I just think that's what it is. So
I want it to be Agamus and Peanut Hamper.
It's the most logical thing to do, but if it's a new thing they came up with out of nowhere, then we'll see. You know,
it's feature.
It's feature, yeah. Okay, so let's get that teaser. Is we kind of knew about that, so that's just kind of reminding us that that's coming later in the season. So then we get to the title card.
My prediction wasn't quite right. I said it was going to be Tendi who got married
It was not.
It was not. It was not.
It was not. So the episode.
Close.
Yes. So the episode's called Something Borrowed, Something Green. As we get the title card here, it starts off with, it's Tendi and Mariner and Talin in, I can't remember what this room's called, but this is where they always work. This is kind of like their, this cargo bay, I guess. And so they're done their work, actually. When you're a lieutenant junior grade, you can actually finish your work, we're told. Then Captain Freeman shows up and says, Lieutenant Tendi, you've been summoned to Orion for a family function. And because the Federation has so few, or Starfleet has so few Orions in service, we jump at any chance to extend diplomatic overtures to Orion. So we'd really like you to go, to
Effective
this.
immediately. You're on vacation.
Yeah, we get a little glimpse of here what Orion alphabet looks like. In writing, so that's now in the canon. So take notice. And what else?
Nice.
Yeah, we can see here Tendi's not too eager, as we know she doesn't. She has some reservations about her Orion culture and the baggage that maybe comes with that. And so she's not super.
This is where the Mariner's like, I got to get out of here. Like I can't. Like ever since Boimler and Rutherford started living together. They keep finishing each other's sentences, and she's just like, "Yes, their emotional connection is like discomfort,
annoying,
annoying,
yeah, it's annoying, yeah." No, that was good too. That was a good little bit. We had Grace Parajani write this episode, who wrote "Hear All, Trust Nothing" last season. If you remember that one, which was a Tendi and Mariner focused story once again. Davan, you gave that. You gave that episode an 11, so
that was the one. That was the Mistress of the Winter Constellations episode,
right? That was another Orion focused, Tendi focused episode, and yet again,
I stand by that. That was a great episode.
They seem to be giving that to Grace Parajani, and Bob Suarez is the director of this episode as well. So Mariner wants to go, and she wants to make a girls' trip, kind of similar to what we had in that previous season with the Hear All, Trust Nothing things, and so they're all going to go. The three of them, the three. Women lower deck girls trip,
triple girls trip,
and then we get our setup with our B plot, which is the Boimler and Rutherford, the Brotherford of it all. They're finishing each other's sets. They're winking in the guns
with their Andorian silk sheets. Is that what they were?
I think so. Yeah.
My brain was going to Boimerford. Yours was so much better. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's why you're the captain.
No, there's some good stuff here with these two. They're having the best time. They're headed to the holodeck, but then they go to spray this bonsai tree, and they both try to grab the bottle at the same time, and then it starts this conflict between them. And so they start fighting over the spray bottle, and going back and forth. And we'll come back to them. Okay, so that's the beginning of the conflict with Rutherford and Boimler, who normally get along. So we actually get to see Orion. So that's the next scene here. We get the from space look. It's green. I guess we could have called that one. And we get to see even the surface of it quite a bit in this episode.
It's like a beautiful agrarian world.
Yeah, it looks nice. It looks like
what
nice
you'd
plan.
expect.
Yeah,
it was rhinoceros, like equestrians.
Yeah, they got like rhinos as mounted animals. We get to see Tendi's family home, which is like this big estate.
Well, big, you say? They're barely the fifth richest pirate family on Orion.
Right. Yeah, they're members of the syndicate. So,
yeah.
She's
like her mother's like the warrior queen or something, right?
And then the dad's his name's Bert or something.
Warrior queen and Bert.
Because this is a matriarchal society where the women are dominant. So yes. And we see here that when they land, these pirate-looking guys come down, and Mariner's all ready to fight, but then we're finding out these are just like the honor guard to welcome home Davan and Tendi to the home. And then carry them, around, establishing that Tendi comes from a powerful and rich family, even amongst the Orions. The Orions have beards. That's fun. Call back to where Keiko was expecting her bonsai tree to be handled and Miles was negligent. That's what the callback is. I wasn't quite sure what the bonsai tree thing was, but yeah, it's a good callback.
He got her a different one and was hoping she wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we see here that we meet the mom who's like the queen of like the whatever, like this group faction or family or whatever, and her husband Bert, which is Tendy's dad. There's an embrace here, and she introduces her parents. They're fun. And they're like, Orions don't lie. Yes, we lie all the time. What are you talking about?
I've been holding this in. Your sister's been kidnapped.
Your sister's been kidnapped. Apparently, that's just something that happens. It's very gaudy on Orion. You kidnap the bride, and then you ask for a ransom, and their demands are like, no, the mom's like, no, that happens between engagement and the shower or something like that. You don't do this now. So it's out of the norm.
All of Talin's comments about Orion society during this episode are like everything Talin ever says is gold.
Oh yeah, I love Talin. Yeah, and Talin is along mostly to observe the Orions because much like us as the Star Trek audience, Starfleet doesn't get to document this very much scientifically because Orions are kind of keep to themselves, it seems like. Don't associate much with the Federation species, at least. So
did you get any sweet Talin sound clips?
Only the little bit at the end, but no, I didn't pull a ton of sound clips for this one. Sorry guys.
No way.
I wish I had gone back and got more of like that Rutherford.
There was a lot of
Boimler.
good quotable moments in this episode.
There was, yeah. But I mostly just tried to get all the screenshots done. But yeah, so anyway, so Davana decides, okay, I'm going to go off and try to find my sister because it's what my parents are doing. But she's not taking it too seriously. Then we cut back to the Cerritos and catch up with Boimler and Rutherford, who are fighting over the bonsai, spray bottle and whatever. And they're now not getting along. There's trouble in paradise here. So they head to the holodeck to try to blow off some steam on a steamboat, quite fittingly. On the AB chambers. Is that what that says? I don't know. Anyway, so it's like this
I served on a steam engine a long time before I was a writer.
Yeah, because he's playing Samuel Clemens or Mark Twain. Yeah, Courier Post Heatwave in Missouri. I like how it says Missouri.
In Missouri.
And they're both dressed like Mark Twain or Samuel Clemens or whatever you want to call them. Twin Twains, and they're still arguing about that spray bottle initially, but as they're kind of we'll come back to them. So their conflict is continuing here on the holodeck. Cut away, go back to Orion, and we're heading to the nightclub scene here with Tendi and Talin and Mariner, who have dressed into kind of a nighttime affair. Like they got the midriffs, they got the
highly inefficient.
Highly inefficient. Even Talin comments on why do we have to dress like this? And I think Mariner's like, just embrace it. We're just embracing the culture. We go, just go for it.
Mariner shames Tendi for not bringing her to this place sooner.
She's like, why did you bring me here? Because Mariner likes a wild time. So this is kind of more in her personality than it is Tendi's, even though this is Tendi's planet and culture. So they have to get into the nightclub. They're like, well, how are we going to get in? They're like, get in line. And then she's like, no, it's me, the mistress of the Winter Constellation. And then they all like buckle. And they said, oh my God.
Don't flay me.
Please don't flay me. He's like, I won't. I won't flay you.
She's like, I totally never flay.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to tell my grandkids about this. That was funny.
How many people has she flayed in her past? That's why
I don't know.
She's done some flaying.
She's done some flaying before she joined up with Starfleet. So that we get into this Orion nightclub, and we can see all the other Orions are noticing Tendi coming in. She's quite the celebrity on her planet.
Stricken, if you will.
This is like the best Talin line. This is where she says, she does command quite the presence for someone so excitable.
Yes. Yeah, that was her line. That was funny. And then they start pouring shots for them at the bar.
And then this is for you.
This is the first time that Mariner will get stabbed. It will happen 3 more times or 2 more times, I guess.
4.
4 in total? Wow.
It happens 4 times in total.
Yeah, I thought it'd be just the rules of 3 with this kind of gag. So she gets.
We see it 3. I'll show you when it's in the 4th one later.
Okay. Yeah, so she just pulls it. We see that in the trailer. She just pulls it out and throws it in the jar. And then we meet this other character whose name I did not catch, but she's kind of like a rival to Tendi in the nightclub. It seems like they have a history of whatever. And she's trying to get some information, but she's like, well, I'll only tell you information if you play this crazy Orion drinking game with me.
I love this game.
Yeah.
Girls
So the game is
game.
you put your hand down on the panel and you have a shot there, and you have to take a shot while you have this big, like, I don't know,
Death bug, they call it.
Death bug, like a scarab or whatever the heck it's supposed to be.
The death bug drinking game.
Yeah, it doesn't look too friendly. So it just kind of goes back and forth on the table. Yeah, you can see there. It
looks like a Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park.
It does, yeah, except smaller and more bug-like. But so then if you hit the button in time, then your hand will be protected from the bug trying to bite it.
I think the way it works is like you have to have your hand in an open space. You drink the shot, and then you have to put the shot
the glass down
on the button, and that's what brings the shield. And then it goes.
And then it goes back to try to bite the other person, and they have to take a shot and do it at the same time. So
the bug's just getting more and more frustrated. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, they go back and forth on this a few times, trying to best each other, and then
they just get it every time, like by milliseconds, like
right,
and they're not shook at all.
They're like, whatever. This is a regular thing. So it's about to get the rivals here, and just when it's about to bite her, Tendi intervenes and puts a glass over the bug, and saves her. And I guess you get some information about where to go next, which I guess is that sex den that we'll catch up with them in the next scene. So back to the riverboat. This is just kind of going with the fact that Boimler and Rutherford starting to put their differences aside here as they're talking more and more like Southern gentlemen. Like, I say, like Foghorn Leghorn or something like that. And the more that they talk in this voice to each other, the more they start agreeing with each other. And they find that this is the way to solve all their differences, is just to be the same character in the holodeck and then think, I guess, once you're that character, you start thinking like that character, and then it's more agreeable. So they're all quite happy with this result. But then they get called to the bridge right after this. So we head up to the bridge. Oh no, before that, we catch up with Tendi and those guys who are heading down to the sex den thing. There's a bit of a conversation here I can't quite recall, but nice hump den, I think, is what Mariner calls it.
Technically the Orions call it a Moans den.
There's a lot of purple velour.
Yeah, there's a lot of purple velour. I got the moans, they say at one point. And she starts asking them about the Orion pheromones. The women have the pheromones that make the men crazy. And, Tendi rebuffs that, saying, no, not all Orions. I can't. So Tendi doesn't have this ability. But most Orion women do. I think
all Orion women do.
Some.
Like,
no.
The evolution of this scene, we discover that she has the ability to block it.
Who does?
Tendi.
But Tendi's a woman.
Yes, but she has the ability to block the pheromone.
Block it. She says that?
No.
Yes.
No, I didn't think so.
Yes.
No, she says she doesn't have the pheromones, or she doesn't.
She just doesn't have them.
No, she specifically says she's developed a way to block the pheromones.
From who?
I don't.
With her hypospray. With the hypospray, she hits the men with, but she doesn't need to be like.
You don't think? Why would she develop a pheromone blocker if she's not going to use it on herself to prevent her pheromones from hypnotizing every man around her?
She's not a man.
Helpful on Orion.
She's not a man. She doesn't need to block them.
No, but she's trying to.
He means block her own.
She needs to block her own pheromones from hypnotizing men around her. That's the Federation fear that like Orions have pheromones that's why Kirk got all like loopy,
Yeah, maybe.
But
I think it's more like just some Orion females don't do it.
I fully believe that she has the capability of doing it, but she also has the capability of preventing herself from doing it to prevent people around her because she wants to study science and learn things.
Yeah, it's a good plot point, but
my take on it was that Tendi is just one of the few Orion women who don't have this power. So maybe they don't all do this.
Well, I mean, I went throughout the scene, they introduced this Ursula character, which you're probably going to get to in like the next couple shots here.
Yeah, she's coming up.
Smell my moans. I want to with the no moans.
Doesn't some character even say it's just more impressive? Tendy's even more impressive because she doesn't have the pheromones.
Right.
Though?
No,
Yeah.
she says no. She
Yes,
specifically
does say that.
Specifically says Tendy's impressive because she doesn't use her pheromones. She doesn't need to. They're stricken around her just because she's too awesome. So she doesn't really need to use her pheromones around them, right? So she's been really reserved about that.
I'm not sure about that, but
you're remembering that wrong, Murphy.
I'll have to go back and rewatch this and maybe at least one more episode to corroborate what you're saying. But there's this other guy who's in the cage, dancing in the cage, who I don't know. Is he like an old flame of Tendy's? Like, who was he?
It seems like that. Some old love affair.
A old love affair. So he's running away from her, and she like pins him down. And I don't think she's using pheromones on him here or whatever. But then the madam shows up, the Ursula character, as you mentioned. And she's controlling things, and this guy scoots away. And then I don't know what was her thing with Tendy. She was like, she doesn't like Tendy, right? She messes up her little sex dens.
I think she's, from what I can remember, she used to like frequent it or something like that. Like she's the one that basically says like, Tendy didn't need to use pheromones. She just, men would fall, been stricken to her, and she was a frequent user, and that's like why she blushed or some stuff like that. Basically, it just alluded to a sordid past that Tendy has with this woman.
Yeah. So okay, I guess Tendy's villain past. Okay, and then we get the next knife in Mariner's chest right after this.
Right in the same spot.
Right in the same spot.
What are the odds?
Yeah, and so the madam sends these like 3 Orion muscle guys after them at one point, and then Tendy just sprays them with the hypo spray, which takes them out of the pheromones, and they're like, "Oh my god, another sex den! Gee,
no, another moans den! Oh god,
another moans!" Yeah, they're just like, "Oh, let's leave," We haven't got to that episode yet in Star Trek Enterprise rewatch, but it's going to be interesting to have that with this, some of the stuff we've seen in Lower Decks here now. Anyway, so the madam then gives up, and she calls back this guy, the guy with the man bun, and then he gives up whatever information he does have here to Tendy, which I guess sends them to the next location, which is the junkyard. So on the bridge, we see we're back with Boimler and Rutherford. Boimler's still wearing his fake mustache, if you will, and she gets it. But we see
the Sam Kirk, we call it.
Yeah, Captain Freeman here is working with or dealing with a Chalna, who the only time we've ever seen this species before was in the Next Generation episode, where it was like Picard and that Bolian woman who ended up being not really her, and there was the 4 people, the 4 prisoners, so we get to meet this guy Chalna. They're kind of like Nausicaans, but slightly different. They're kind of anyway, so they don't want to. I can't remember the details what Captain Freeman was trying to get them to do here, but he's not playing ball. He's disagreeing with them, and they're not getting along. And how are we going to come to a resolution on our disagreement? I think they wanted to scan a nebula. I think that's what it was, and he didn't want to let them.
So earlier in the Night Shift Discord watch party, Merrick had pointed out the species, and it was that species from the TNG episode where
we just said that.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Thanks.
What are you doing here, Murphy?
Sorry,
he's like, I wasn't paying attention. I'm just going to repeat what you guys just talked about. Well,
I'm just gonna pull what you're saying off of Discord. Anyway, move on.
So they wanted to. They want to scan something. He won't let them, and they're going back and forth. How can we come to a resolution? And Rutherford and Boimler have an idea. Let's head to the holodeck. That's where we go. And so they're like, "Well, we're just you."
He's training it up.
Like Mark Twain.
No, you gotta say it different. He's like, you can't just.
You gotta talk. You gotta like say it in the voice, and then
use a Southern accent. I am from the South. This is a Southern accent.
I am from the South. I'm from the southern part of Chalna. This is a Southern accent. They're like, well, no, an Earth accent. You know?
That was a pretty funny line.
Yeah, and Captain Freeman's like, this is the worst idea ever. You know, it's just like, but she agreed to it, so
But it worked out for us.
it eventually does. Yeah. Anyway, so that the Chalnan captain is losing his mind over this. He's like, I don't know. He did try to embrace it. He's going crazy. He even throws something, and Shax goes like head to head with him. Like he's ready to wrestle with him at one point.
Then he was just tossed across the room.
but somehow the bonsai tree gets mentioned here near the end, and he's like,
what is bonsai?
What is a bonsai tree? Yeah. So the Chalna is all interested. Cut away. We head back with the lady lower deckers on Orion. They're going through the junkyard here. Tendi, Mariner, T'Lyn. And then they say that this is where her and her sister used to come all the time. I also enjoyed how her sister's name is Erica. Like, yeah, just like, I think this is just like making fun of the fact that often these names are just normal human names that they'll add, like Balana is just Alana with a B added to the front, you know, or Davana, you know, is just Vana, right? So it's got a little bit funny here. Girls trip. Yeah, we see here that, you know, we even see where, like, you know, that Tendi was dreaming of being in Starfleet from a young age. And we even see like some like the crayon here that she colored onto the wall of this stolen ship, which they will fly out here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so they're in there, and this is where, you know, Tendi's like, I gotta come clean, guys. I'm not just some normal Orion girl. I actually am like a trained assassin and
a prime
and all this. They're like, yeah, we know, you know, it's like, it's, you know,
You don't need to
like,
flip a knife in the air to figure that out.
yeah, you kicked a knife out of the air, but they're like, you know, it's, you know, what you're born into. You choose to be, and you choose to be like a Starfleet officer and a scientist on the Cerritos, and that's who you are, and that's our friend, and it's a big, nice, heartwarming moment. But at that, just when that's all wrapping up, Erica finally appears to reconcile or to have a fight here with her sister and tell her off. Was she
fascinating? Orions solve every conflict with violence.
Yes.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. I was trying to. Erica was voiced by Ariel Winter. I know that name. Why do I know that name?
I don't know.
Ariel Winter. I do know that name.
Modern Family.
Modern Family. Isn't she from Modern Family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's in Modern Family.
She's the middle daughter, right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Ariel, because I knew the name, but I couldn't quite place it. Yeah, that's who does the voice here of Erica. Yeah, and yeah, so then it breaks. So she throws a knife at Mariner, I think. One point. Is this the third knife?
That is the third knife. Yes.
Yep.
The third knife in Mariner.
And it bounced off the wall while she was under a desk.
Her sword is so damn cool. Yeah, there was a cool sword here from Erica, and she has like a little blade, you know, as well. So, and then Tendi, or more specifically Davana Tendi, just grabs like a rusty piece of metal from the ship and
which is badass.
uses that, and so
that's the cool sword.
they're gearing up for a fight here, you know, because she takes exception with the knife in Mariner's chest here.
Not only will Tendi's
don't
sword
stab my friend.
Don't you stab my friend? You know, it's like,
not only will Tendi's sword cut you, it'll give you tetanus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it will.
So we go back to the Chalna and back on
bonsai.
Yeah, with the bonsai tree back on the Cerritos, and
beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's the best thing I've ever seen. They're like, well, yeah, like
it's
yeah,
treat it like our son.
And then he just eats it, like he just shoves it down.
I thirst for mist.
Because in that the only other episode where we had the Chalna, we know that little red Jello thing was poison to him, but I guess bonsai trees are not. So you know, that's all been established now. So he just eats it, and Rutherford and Boimler are horrified. Kayshawn and Freeman a little bit more indifferent, but this seems to pacify the Chalna, and he's like, yeah, you can scan or whatever you're gonna do.
Well, no, he goes before that. He's like, I thirst for mist, and then he just chugs their mist bottle.
Their mist
like,
bottle.
you can do whatever.
And they're just left with like
That reminds me of one of Erica's best lines too. She's just like, "Why is Starfleet obsessed with scanning so much?" She's just like,
Yeah.
"To learn things."
I learned things. Yeah. So we're back here with let's catch up with Davan and Erica as they continue their little sword fight, which was fun. You know, and their argument is continuing as they're going. And at one point, like Talin's like, "Should I get involved?" And Mariner stops her, which I thought
She's
was
like, no, and then
no,
Talin's like,
they need to work this out, you know. So they continue the fight.
Yeah, at this point, you kind of like get the breakdown where like, you know, they're like, I didn't want to be the mistress column because couldn't be you, and it's like, no, you could be me, and they just had that sort of
right because Davana was the older sister. She was meant to be the prime in this. But when she gave up that, you know, and joined Starfleet, that fell onto De'Erica. And so, you know, and eventually De'Erica
felt comfortable leaving it to De'Erica because she thought De'Erica could do the thing of being the mistress of the winter colonies.
Yeah, we've seen this kind of story many times. This is an old story, but you know, it was good. And so, you know, eventually, you know, through the act of fighting, they managed to get out some of their grievances with one another and come to a resolution. But yeah, she does try to like almost stab her in the face, but then misses her head, and then there's kind of a reconciliation here between the Tendi sisters.
Very nice.
And so now what? We have to get to the wedding. We're gonna miss the wedding's in a few minutes. What, you know,
2 hours.
I don't know. Why did you just ask to use a transporter? Like, but they're not going to do that. So
maybe they don't have access and they don't have badges, so they don't really have access. So
why
they're
don't they have badges?
Well, I don't know why they don't have badges, but they're not wearing them.
Shouldn't you bring one with you in case?
I mean, that would be I would agree. They should bring one with them, but for whatever reason, they
did come to a shuttlecraft, which would presumably have a transporter on it. But it would defeat the purpose.
Hotwire the ship. Yeah,
so they're going to hotwire this ship. So let's talk about that. So Tendi starts hotwiring the ship, and we see the ship start to come to life here. I'm pretty sure this is the captain's yacht that we saw in Star Trek Insurrection. Davin, would you agree?
Captain's yacht. Yep.
It's the captain's yacht that you know kind of is in the saucer section, comes out of the saucer section of the Sovereign class. So they start flying that away, presumably.
Which are bigger than you think.
They're pretty big.
Those captain's yachts are pretty fancy.
Oh yeah. So they're going along here. I can't remember what Tendi says or Mariner says to Talin here, but Talin's continuing her observations, and she's like, "Do you have to put all that into your report?" Tendi says to her, and she eventually says, "It would be unethical to put all these observations into report." So, whoops, I lost it.
Well, it's not. No. It's not like that. She's like, "Oh no, my pad is dysfunctioning," and she floats it at the window. And she's like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because it would be unethical to submit a report when the subject matter does not consent to it." And that was my favorite moment of the episode right there.
But it's an interesting thing because Starfleet does do all kinds of observations, including in Star Trek Insurrection. They were observing the Baku without their consent. So it was, and they do it all the time. But whatever. Anyway, so they're heading to the wedding. I think they start to like crash here at one point, and they think they're going down. I guess they managed to stick the landing, if you will, because they show up just in time. Yeah, it does look very Captain Ziotti. They show up just in time for the wedding. The ceremony's about to happen. You know, De'Erica's here. The parents, Tendi parents are very moved.
Girls, they're accomplices.
I like how the groom gets brought down the aisle by the dad in this culture, because again, it's matriarchal. So. Isn't the groom just glowing? You know, so that kind of gets all wrapped up. We get to see like an Orion wedding, and then back on the Cerritos to wrap up the episode. They're sharing the photos from the wedding with Rutherford and Boimler, all the 5 lower deckers united here. Did the traditional swing the groom over the threshold. As you do, you know.
And there was this is the spot where there's actually a fourth stabbing because Mariner's like, and this is where I got a knife in my shoulder at the daddy-daughter dagger dance.
Okay, I missed that. The the daughter daddy dagger dance. That's how it goes. Boimler and Rutherford also talk about what they have been up to and losing their bonsai tree and how they have a new solution for solving all their problems, which brings us to they don't just dress up like Samuel Clemens. They also dress up like Mozart here. They start playing like almost Trelane style.
Shall we tickle the ivories, old boy?
Yeah, that's how Mozart talks, guys. And so, as a German, so they just wrapped all this up, and that's the end of the episode. As they
These
go
are really
out.
hard to play.
So that's the episode in terms of the screenshots. Really enjoyed what we got here, even though it wasn't maybe necessarily the most like hard hitting or impactful or memorable episode. It was still a very good one for me.
It was a whirlwind of an episode. It went by so fast.
It did go by fast, yeah. Like and in the two, like jumping between the two plots seemed to work fine. There wasn't any kind of conflict, even though they weren't super in common either. But it was about resolving differences, I guess, would be the common thread here.
I liked how the Rutherford plot was treated like a sprinkling, and we got the majority of it was like the Orion stuff. We didn't spend too much time with Boimler and Rutherford fussing about their like bonsai tree, which could have gotten annoying. Like it was just a sprinkle, just enough to be like, okay, cool, we got a B plot, so we can cut between all the good stuff of the A plot,
Now, one thing I'm reading here on Memory Alpha says that maybe it wasn't the captain's yacht that they flew out. It might have been actually something similar to the USS Raven that, if you remember, 7 of 9's parents were flying at one point.
Yeah, well. I mean, it does look Raven-ish. I got a Raven here.
But that I'd say that the Raven type and the captain's yacht are very similar in sort of their basic profile. Yeah. This is the first appearance of the planet Orion in all Star Trek, as mentioned. Mariner references Jonathan Archer's encounter with the Harad Sar barge in the episode Bound, which as I mentioned, we haven't quite made it to on our Enterprise rewatch, but that's coming up soon.
It's a good one.
And I don't know, is there any other trivia about this episode? That's I don't think so. Looks like that might be it, guys. All right, then on that.
What's your favorite winter constellation?
Big Dipper,
Vivaldi,
Ursa Major. Is that a thing? I'm not good with constellations. But I am
just
good
with
Orion. Orion. I am good with ratings. Let's rate this episode, guys. All right. Oh, getting a little tighter here. Okay, something borrowed, something green. Did I like this? And this was an 8 for me. It was good.
I had a lot of fun. I'm giving this one like a 9.8. Not quite a 10, but definitely 9.8. I love Tendy's storyline. She's my favorite character. Anything to know about Orion's in such a fun, exciting, interesting way. All about it. So many good one-liners, and the running gag of Mariner getting stabbed in the shoulder had me rolling. So big time.
Now, Merrick, if you can see here, we have a column for you if you're listening. So, and then
we built a whole column for you, Night Shift.
I added a whole column.
I'll go 10 on this one. I love this episode. Yeah, I love this episode. I love the Orion stuff. I love Tendy episodes. I gave the last Tendy episode an 11. Yeah, like I love Mariner and Boimler, but I always love it when there's a little bit less of them in an episode because there's so much of them. Like a Rutherford episode's fun, a Tendy episode's fun. T'Lyn, give us some more episodes about the senior crew members.
Norman Bachwald saying 6.5 for him. He wasn't a big fan of the B plot. It didn't blow me away. I think that's why I'm more at an 8. I liked it, but I could have even done without the B plot. It was funny. But
I wanted to give this a 10, but the B plot, I'm going to shave 0.2 points off for the B plot. I still enjoyed it, but you know what? Screw it. I'm giving it a 10. It's a 10. It wasn't too much of the B plot for me. It's a 10.
No, you're going back to 10. Wow. Perfect episode, guys. Norman also had pointed out earlier that don't forget about Badgie. He might be also tied in with the Texas class ships, and he could be a leftover. He might be destroying those other ships.
That would be what you're talking about, Murphy, but worse. That would be taking the exact same episode that ended last season and doing it again. That the season didn't end on Agamis and Peanut Hamper. The season ended on the Buen Amigo Texas class big fight.
Right.
So it's like that would literally be doing the same villain again.
Sure.
The Texas class.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm hoping it's neither of those things and it's something entirely fresh and new. It's what I really would like.
This has a 7.7 on IMDb. Oh, we're averaging a 9.3 tonight because I was at an 8 and you guys are at 10. So,
give me lots of Talin, man. If there's at least 6 Talin lines, it's probably a 10 for me.
Yeah, I know. I'm really enjoying it. Like Talin, is like a good use of Vulcans in comedy. Like, it works. She's basically just playing the straight person, right? So it's just against like the more wacky characters. So I'm glad that they've added her in here. Do we have the title for next week's episode, Murphy? I was having a little.
Give me a moment and I'll let you know.
I can't seem to find the title of it yet, but other than episode 4.5. Yeah. And as we mentioned, Ariel Winter was on this one too.
Hopefully it's called The Death of Badgie.
The death of Badgie is not my favorite character on Lower Decks. I've made no secret of that. I don't mind Peanut Hamper. Peanut Hamper is seems to be a polarizing character among Trek fans. But it seems like nobody likes Badgie. I don't think anybody likes Badgie. So I haven't met anybody who likes Badgie yet. And Agamis is fun because it's Jeffrey Combs, of course. So.
The next episode is called Empathological Fallacies.
Oh, we're getting some Beta Z stuff.
Or maybe Vulcan? Or both?
Empathic Beta Z.
But illogical.
Maybe even a Marina Sirtis cameo. Who knows?
She's been on the show before.
No, I was going to say Orla Waxana, but she's no longer with us.
Talin does work really well. Yeah, no, I like her. I like her in this group. I wonder if that Klingon, what was his name, Mar or something like that, back in the original episode where she was introduced, where Talin was introduced. There was Wedge Douche. Yeah, there was the Klingon lower decker who was kind of the counterpart on that episode.
He died in the first episode of the season.
No, that was a different guy, wasn't it?
Nope, that's the same Klingon ship. They got demolished in the first episode of the season.
I knew it was the same captain, but I don't know if that was the same guy who.
The same Klingon from Lower Decks that took over the captain's ship in that one episode last season.
Correct.
Yeah,
I'm looking this up, Murphy. I don't know if you're right about this.
Yeah, no, the Wedge Douche ship from that one episode got nixed in the first episode of this season. There was the whole like pig dog and all that stuff. He was at the captain's chair.
It says deceased. Yeah, Memory Alpha says he's dead, so it was him.
Murder morsel with Murphy.
There you go. On the IKS Chata. So I guess they're not. We won't see him again because we did, and I didn't realize it was him.
Died a warrior's death.
So
he did.
He did die a warrior's death. I guess
we shall see him one day in Stovo Core.
Him and his Targ. So yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I'm kind of, I'm liking the season a lot. I'm always excited when it's Lower Decks Day, and I always like talking about it with you guys. So, looking forward to the next one. And yeah,
our emotional connection is disconcerting.
Yeah, this season is on pace to maybe be the best season ever. Like with the ratings we're tossing out. So let's.
They're coming out hard, nice and early. Like they've got 6 episodes left. Like.
It's the addition of Talin. Like that.
Yeah. She's a nice spice. I am gonna agree. She's a nice spice to this gumbo.
Yeah, kind of what they needed, right? Like in this group, to sort of.
They're also crazy.
They're also out there and sort of manic and
like how often do you get a group of 4 characters who are like the main characters and none of them's the straight person for like 2 seasons?
Yeah,
Spoiler, I guess, was sort of, but he's wacky as hell.
He's wacky too, and even Mariner is, and so
I kind of always felt like it was Captain Freeman was the straight character.
Well, but she's just a side character.
She's insane too. Like, let's face it. Like,
she's not very good at her job.
They're all nuts. This entire ship is made up with, whether it be Shax,
Ransom, fairly competent. He might be the most competent.
Yeah, but he's a very capable, competent officer, but he's also like,
Yeah.
an egomaniac and
Yeah.
some other things. But yeah, they're all fun.
Check the warp core.
Yeah. Shax, eject the warp core. Yes. Captain, I think we should eject the warp core.
It's such a Worf joke.
Yeah.
Just making fun of Worf.
Well, yeah.
Fire
Shax,
phasers. No,
Yeah.
Mr. Worf.
I think we should self-destruct the ship. You always think we should do that, Shax. I just
Yeah.
want to blow us up. Okay. Well, guys,
Check the warp core.
on that note, we'll go out here on the Tendi, Mariner, and Tallinn clip. But first, let's just plug all the shows and pay some bills, guys. If you didn't know, Live Long and Podcast, we talk about more than Star Trek Lower Decks. We talk about different shows. Right, as we mentioned a few times tonight, Star Trek Enterprise has been an ongoing rewatch series. We're wrapping up season 4, and soon we'll be done. And then returning to our Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatch series. We have one season left in that anthology. You can also check out all the different other shows we've covered, like Strange New Worlds, Picard, even Prodigy, and many others. So
Hashtag
we hope
stay
you do.
Prodigy.
And Davan runs the science division here on Live Long and Podcast, where we do the debate nights, we do the trivias, we do the Class L probes, and different
Might
podcasts.
be a probe this weekend. Might be a probe
Yeah.
this week.
As
Looking
well
at
as
Sunday.
the Locutors of Trek, which is our long form audio podcast with Davan and Dave Pugsley, the Plain Simple Tailors,
and conventions on occasion.
and conventions. And soon we'll be talking about Star Trek starships, different classes, ranking the different classes.
And first contact interviews, like our interview with Derek Tyler Attigo, and other exciting interviews for the future.
Absolutely. And soon we'll be returning with Star Trek Radio Theater. I do intend to get back to it this year. So watch out for that this fall. And that's that. And then we're part of a federation of podcasts.
Speaking of Derek Tyler Attico, the book got bumped back to December, the autobiography of Benjamin Sisko, but has now been bumped back up to November release. So if you've got your pre-orders in, it'll be arriving a month earlier.
I already have my pre-order, so when it shows up, it will show up, I guess. So,
November.
Yeah, no.
Patience.
Yeah. The United Federation of Podcasts is a network of podcasts, which includes Live Long and Podcast, as well as several other shows and channels. One of which is Super Mater Brothers podcast. That's when I do with Jeff and Jaemeel and other people like Foster, where we talk mostly about reality TV shows like Big Brother Survivor. Tonight, we're talking about the double eviction on week 7 of Big Brother 25 for theater. Do those old scientists. Maybe.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
They are brothers.
A lower deck one. Yeah. We are brothers. Also, starting next Wednesday, Survivor season 45. Watch out. I got Bruce and I got the other guy. So we'll be probably doing a cast preview as well. We also have Hold Up, which is a movie podcast that Chris and Davan do. I'm going to be on there in 2 weeks, I think, talking space movies with you guys.
Kicking off season 2.
Season 2 of Hold Up, Outland, and Apollo 13 and Ad Astra.
Yep.
So that's gonna be fun.
Space.
I've never seen Ad Astra.
Space.
I've never seen Outland either. So this will be new. And it's been a while since I've watched Apollo 13. So that will be good to come back to.
Houston, we have a problem.
We have a problem. Gary Sinise and Tom Hanks right off the back of Forrest Gump. So get ready for that. And then X-Rated, X-Men the Animated Series review show with Davan and Andre, usually on Tuesdays. They're nearly wrapped up the original cartoon rewatch.
Three
and I think you're going to watch some X-Men movies.
Yeah, well, yep. We're going to do some movies after that. Maybe play some games, do some things. We'll kill time.
There's plenty of X-Men.
Before the new series.
I think you guys should track down the old 90s live action show X-Force and watch that.
You mean Generation X?
Was that it?
Yeah, and starring Matt Frewer. That is how we're kicking it off. After we're done season 5, we're kicking it off with Generation X.
Oh my god.
Matt Frewer? Really?
Yeah, Matt, you remember that? Yeah, it was a TV pilot. It was on NBC or something.
I never think
it was a Fox show, wasn't it?
What year was that?
Oh, jeez.
Like late
94.
90s, early 2000s.
So before the X-Men movie.
Yeah,
way before, like 1994 or something.
Matt Frewer from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah. And Dawn of the Dead. Okay. All right. And Star Trek for that matter. Okay.
And he's Rasmussen.
He's Rasmussen. Yeah, I played him in a radio theater once. Okay.
That's
and
a great
then
role.
yeah, so we'll be talking about that. And then Eamon, I heard you're going on there soon.
Yeah, the three. If you like bass, tune into Eamon on Track whenever that is going to be.
I think it's this weekend. He told me. But
why
don't you schedule it with Davan and actually put it on the schedule?
Yes,
anyway,
he should tell me.
Yeah, he's not great with that part. And then the Graphic Histories podcast with Andre Mayette. I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be interviewed by him next Wednesday. So I don't know.
Oh, snap.
But we're going to be doing that.
It's a great
for
podcast.
Our Survivor podcast. And Trivial Debates coming up this Saturday. We got Jody Simpson hosting with three contestants talking Transformers. I guess we got
Brett Jones, Daryl Wall, and Ivor Publicover.
Check that out this Saturday, September 23rd at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And lastly, the Hellbound podcast, Michael Chan, Alex Blackburn, Talking Horror, comes out Wednesdays, audio only. Check them out. All right. And I guess our newest member, the Night Shift podcast, right? I don't have a graphic, but they're new friends we've made into the Federation here. So check all those things out. Yes. And I'll definitely be rewatching Star Trek Enterprise. Well, you're always welcome to join us. We only got 6 podcasts left there, Merrick. All right.
You'll be strengthened by the watching.
You'll be strengthened by the sharing.
Faith of the heart.
Faith of the heart. And on that note, we will say goodnight and come clean. See you guys next time.
Guys,
I
have to complain about something. I was trained to be a syndicate assassin.
Candy, yeah, we know, girl. You can't just say you're joking around when you flip a knife out of the air.
Your upbringing was quite obvious.
I just hate that you guys had to see the real me.
Tens, the real you is the one who geeks out about science on the Cerritos.
But I'm a prime, a trained assassin. It's the most piratey someone can be.
Incorrect. You are who you choose to be, a Starfleet lieutenant and a loyal friend.
Don't worry. We know you're a big nerd and not some hot assassin.
That is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
See you next time, everyone.